So I'm going for a little bit of a change of scenery with some of these podcast episodes. The podcast episodes I love to listen to are chatty episodes. They're not super long. I like to hear about like to hear from the podcast host what they're up to, what is going on in their life, what is going on in their business, along with a little bit of value. I don't always love hearing interviews with guests. I do enjoy that, but not all the time. They're not the kind of podcasts that I listen to the most often. So it got me thinking, why are they the kind of episodes that I create? So I'm bringing in a new format. The new format, this is the first episode. It's going to be a bit more chatty. I am going to bring in guests, but it's going to be a lot less like an interview and more of an informal chat. So I hope you enjoy. Please do let me know your feedback because podcasts are weird. It's not like when you're putting yourself out there on social media and you can kind of see who's watching and you get the interaction. You don't get any of this when it comes to podcasting. So I would really love if you have feedback on this episode, if you enjoy it, please do send me a message on Instagram or any other means. In this episode, I'm going to be joined by Georgia. Georgia is my right-hand lady. She is my teammate. She works with me, helping me with client work in the agency. I'm going to talk a little bit with her and yeah, enjoy. Let me know how you find it. It's definitely less work for me this way. Hey, Georgia, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, just extremely, extremely warm. Because we're recording this episode, I've had to close all of the windows and doors.
Oof.
So it's a bit like a hot box in here right now, a little bit sweaty.
The one time I'm not jealous about not living in Ibiza.
I know, I can't complain too much. Yeah, so welcome. Thanks for joining me on the podcast. It's like a slightly new style of episode. And I thought, who else am I going to ask to join me than my right-hand lady person to come and join me and chat about things. So welcome.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So Georgia has got some pretty exciting news. Her business is going in a very exciting new direction, and so we're going to talk about that a bit later on. But first of all, what I want to chat about is something that came up on my feed this week that got me thinking, that actually led me to releasing a course of mine. And it's a social media post. I think it was by maybe a yoga business coach or something like that. And it was this post. It was like, yoga studios are even now checking people's social media presence, like potential teachers, and factoring that into the decision of whether they hire them for their studio. Everyone was outraged, like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is happening. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't find that particularly shocking. I don't find it shocking that studios are going and checking teachers' social media presence before they choose to work with them or not. I'm not saying it's right, and I agree that it's unfair, but it's not surprising to me. What do you think?
It's not surprising to me at all. I think the yoga industry is almost behind other people in that self-promotion. Like if you look at the beauty industry, if you look at sports, if you look at chefs and restaurant and hospitality, there is a expectation of being able to talk about yourself, and it's kind of creeping into the wellness world, but there is a bigger fight about but I shouldn't have to be doing that in wellness.
Yeah.
But I was a marketeer before I was a yoga teacher, and I think it's really important. If you fully believe in what you do, you should be able to shout about it in the best way possible. And with so much information out there about how to do it, I do think it is on us to be able to talk about what we do.
But shouldn't it just be that someone's a really great teacher and they're amazing at what they do? Why should they have to why should they have to have a big following, or why should they have to spend time marketing themselves to be in the running for these gigs?
I don't agree that a big following means a good teacher, because a lot of kind of big followings where people are really great at teaching online doesn't actually translate to being a good in-person teacher. They're two different styles of teaching. But understanding how to talk about what you do is the important part. And usually that will then build a bit of a following. I think with being quite competitive, especially in, you know, some of the larger cities where there is a bit more going on. You want to stand out. And if you are known and without a yoga teacher following, then yeah, you don't need, without, sorry, like an Instagram following, then you don't need it, because you've built that connection through already doing events. If you're new as a yoga teacher, or if you're new in a city, to go without a following and say, yeah, I'm a great teacher, as a studio owner, why would I not go for the person who is also a great teacher that has a following?
Yeah, and like a teacher that enjoys being on social media, enjoys using it, they create really cool content, they're confident in talking about themselves, is going to be a lot more desirable to a business, a studio of any kind, than a teacher who kind of like is vocally hates social media. They are like consistent, the content they're putting out is a bit average, and just, you know, of course, a studio, they're a business at the end of the day, and any kind of support, any sort of extra help they can get with marketing, they're going to take it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's fair, but it is.
It doesn't mean it's fair, but building a following and having people that want to listen to the message that you've got to say has always been there. Even before we had social media, it was a lot more word of mouth, and there was less of a way to track how many people are interested in what you've got to say. It's just now it's really obvious, because there are literal numbers on a tiny little screen telling people what that is, you know?
Yeah. So I guess people with a small following, like teachers, great teachers out there with a small following, kind of thinking, right, maybe I should like put a bit more emphasis onto promoting myself. I guess they kind of have they have two choices. It's sit and whinge and go, God, it's so unfair, and look at all these other teachers getting these gigs. Like, I keep hearing about these studios where they are literally just hiring now like these celebrity teachers with big followings and everything like that. And it's wild, but I get it. And we can sit and we can look at all these, like, we can look and sit at that this is the case and complain and go, it's not fair, we shouldn't be judged on our following or our Instagram, and sort of like watch everybody else kind of going for these opportunities and being picked, or accept and go, it's not fair, I'm not a marketer, I don't have this background in marketing, but I can start to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
There is the option to upskill.
Yeah. There is. And if you like reframe it as, you know, from, I don't want to be posting myself on social media just to get a following. If you reframe that as, actually, this is a skill that I need to be able to sell my services, I'm building a community. And again, for me as a new studio owner, building that community is more important than someone just coming and saying, I have followers because I do X, Y, and Z on social. If someone comes with a community that wants to build on that community with me, that's the important part. And you can then physically see that on someone's social media. So yeah, you've got to, if you can't beat them, join them. Is that a phrase?
Totally. And like you said, it's not just for the purpose of studios and getting good classes. It's also, you're going to use those skills for all your own marketing. If you decide to run workshops or retreats, or maybe add on other kind of services outside of teaching yoga, those marketing skills are going to be transferable and bring you value for 100%. many years to come.
Yeah, 100%. You might decide that you don't want to be a yoga teacher anymore and you're going to go and do something else. So then how do you sell that as a service? You got to use social media.
Totally. Okay, well, on that note, if you don't mind, Georgia, I'm going to quickly just talk about Master the Gram because it does lead on quite nicely. So seeing that post and everybody being like really irate about it, it made me, and having these thoughts about it, you know, I thought, I've got Master the Gram there. Master the Gram is a course that I've been running now for like a couple of years, and I've had over 100 teachers go through it. And it's essentially how to use Instagram for business. It's for anyone who feels like they're just kind of winging it, they're not growing their following, they don't know how to use it effectively as a marketing channel, want to get better at it, want to find it easier to use, want to be creating content that is having bigger impact, goes through strategy, it goes through content, it goes through how to sell yourself online. And I'm bringing it back literally because I saw that post, and it's going to be on sale, half the price of normal, because I'm doing it in a kind of like flash sale way. Like I'm on holiday basically in August. So I'm doing it like a flash sale for July. Like there's a reason why it's a flash sale, but it's obviously a benefit if anybody who wants to join. We're going to really intensively go through all the content over July. You're going to get all the access to the video modules plus like a group accountability kind of vibe to it, where you're going to have access to me through July. So if you're interested, we're going to start on Monday, and so send me a message. So let's park that and let's talk about your studio. So actually maybe introduce yourself, because I just said, oh, I've got Georgia, as if like everybody listening will know who you are. So tell us who you are.
Georgia. Griggs is my new surname because I just got married. I am the founder, owner of Studio 9, which is Hereford's newest studio and, well-being site. There is a little bit of a gap in Hereford for the style of yoga that I not only love to teach, but enjoy practicing. And I've been waiting a while for the right space to come up. And it happened about 6 weeks ago. And so we've taken it and we're opening in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So Georgia basically works with me doing marketing with our clients, and we predominantly work with yoga businesses and other kind of studio-based businesses. And then we have catch-ups every week where we talk about client work and what we're up to. And I swear, like 1 week it was, I'm going to go look at a studio space. And then the next week was it, oh my God, I've got the studio space. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting the keys. Oh my gosh, we open. It was like within the space of like 3 calls, all of this happened.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was, fast. But because everything feels like it's like aligned, with... I've tried to open a studio in 2 other places that I've lived since lockdown, and rent was either too expensive, or there wouldn't be enough people in the city to make it work, or it was too close to a studio and friends that were running places, and it actually wasn't right. And so kind of all the work that I've done through my yoga teaching business and my marketing career has all just suddenly come to this point of like, it's now, you've done all the work, let's make it happen.
That's so exciting. I actually just love this so much. Yeah. I just love opening a studio.
I know, it's crazy. But I've had, there's always been that doubt, or no one's done this style of yoga and kind of the studio that I want to offer in Hereford. So maybe there's not a demand, and that's always been in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
But since kind of getting all my content out there and all the soft launch stuff that I've posted, I've had so many messages of people saying, this is exciting. Hereford has been waiting for this. This is like, Hereford needs this. Hereford needs this. It's just, it's...
So did you do like market research before you went ahead, or was it, I'm taking the opportunity and let's kind of see, let's see if there's a demand, and if there's not, I'm going to create some?
A little bit of both. Because I've been teaching in like the health clubs in and around Hereford, a few people know me, but my classes are always full, and there's a wait list often for my classes, which is always quite nice. And a lot of the feedback that I got when I first started teaching was, oh, you teach a little bit differently to the other yoga teachers around here, and it's a little bit more experimental, or it's a little bit more like new style yoga, and I, some of my classes, I like people to be a little bit free and move a little bit more. And so I've had great feedback about how I teach. And then the space came up and I thought, let's do it. It's the venue is like, he wants indies and startups to go into there, and it's a 6-month lease, which is so different to how I've, all the other properties I've looked at were like 3 years, and that's, but maybe we'll give you like 3 months free rent, but you're signed in and that's it, we've got you. Whereas because this is takes off the pressure a bit, I just thought, let's do it.
We have a lot of experience of marketing, We also have a lot of experience marketing for other businesses, other yoga studios. But I guess completely new territory for you is actually just setting up a studio from scratch. What would you say has been your biggest learning there?
Ooh, biggest learning, I think it's to scale back and to do less. My, a lot of my experience, even before we started working together, was kind of big business. And setting up a studio with 10 mats is quite different to, these amazing studios that could have 35 people in them. It's a totally different way to market a business and to go in slowly and softly and gently, and to use social media to be social. And I know that sounds really dumb, but it's not just kind of putting information out there. There's been a huge learning for me, which is actually encouraging people to talk back. And that's kind of changed the way I've been creating my own content. And I think that's where I've been going wrong a little bit with my own marketing as a life coach and a yoga teacher, and kind of, promoting all the online trainings and courses that we were all trying to do in lockdown. But because a lot of it was like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, like, this is it. Whereas now it's like, get to know us. Like, what do you think about this? Getting involved and having that conversation, which is much more interesting for other people to follow. They feel like they are part of that community. Yeah. And community, I think, is the word that I have to keep coming back to, because it then feels like a joint process with the people that I want to come and experience it.
I've had a few studio owners on the podcast before, actually a couple of recent episodes with Katarina Rayburn and then Jamie Hepburn. And they also said some similar things around it's about creating a community with the socials rather than if you're just promoting yourself, it's a whole other style of marketing. I think possibly easier to promote like an actual in-person business that's not completely attached to your identity.
Yeah, for sure. I can say that for certainty. It is easier. Yeah, you can remove yourself from it, and there's always going to be a little part of you in it because it's your ideas and it's your business. But even just moving from I to we in a lot of the copy, I think can help people engage with it a little bit more, because that we is like, yeah, we are part of something.
Yeah. So you've been doing your own marketing for the launch of the studio, which has been utilising a lot of the experience gained, I guess, over the year and a half that we've been working together.
Yeah.
Building up your own community and running your own ads.
Yeah.
Now, before we started working together, I don't think you had run ads before.
I had someone run some ads for me, and she showed me how she did it, but it was like, I don't get it at all. So yeah.
And a lot of people who haven't run ads tend to, you either hear like this, oh my God, it's been amazing. Oh my God, my ads are so amazing. It's such a quick win. And, saw these sales, blah, blah, blah. Or you hear, I hired someone to do my ads and it was such a flop. I didn't see any results and I don't think they work. And they're the kind of two camps that you sit in. And I actually just don't think either is necessarily like the best reflection of ads. Now I guess you've been running ads now for your business, and I loved it when we jumped on a call and you said how successful they've been for your studio, because like that is what ads are all about. It's not about like this, I'm just gonna run one campaign and I'm just gonna get amazing results. And I also hate hearing about when people have spent loads of money and then they just write off ads altogether. This is the best example ever of really understanding how ads work, putting together a really good strategy and seeing really good results that are going to like literally have an impact for ages and ages into the future.
Yeah.
So you've been running Google ads and you've been running Facebook ads, which is the same as what we do for some of our clients. Tell us about some of the results.
So I mean, just want to say quickly, having a proper strategy with my ads is why I think they have been more successful than just like, boosting posts. Because I still see on the internet a boosted post, and kind of that feels like, oh, I'm just going to throw some money at it and see what happens. And
Yeah.
if it goes wrong, then ads are the problem. If it goes right, then like, great, we'll do it again. But there's no consistency with that.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a good way to get started. I think if people are interested in ads, why not give it a little boost? But that is not a proper strategy.
it's not. So, and also because it's now my own money.
Go on.
I was going to say I'm like even more serious about it because it's my money.
Well, yeah.
But
that's the importance of working with people who actually give a shit about your brand and your business.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. When I've worked in agencies before, the budgets are so big that you kind of just go, right, well, I'll just stick 10 grand on that. Oh, and I'll put another 20 grand on that and 50 grand on that. Like, honestly, there's so much money to play with that it's almost, the strategy kind of goes out the window. It's like, let's just throw as much money at as we can.
Yeah.
Whereas when you are dealing with smaller budgets, like most studios aren't going to have huge budgets, and they don't need them because there is a limit to the kind of people that are they're gonna go. They have to be within a certain radius of the physical studio.
Yeah.
When you have a smaller budget to play with, you have to be more strategic because you need that money to go as far as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally. So having that strategy has meant that when did I start running my ads? Just over 2 weeks ago is when I started. There's been 260 new Instagram followers. There has been, 67 people have signed up to my Team Up account, have created accounts. I've had 30 people join my mailing list, or the mailing list for it. We're doing a whole week of soft launch, and 3 of the classes are now full. One paid event is now full, and then the other classes are half full already, and they keep, I've got 3-4 people every day signing up or messaging to say, I want to sign up. How do I do it? I've seen your ads. Amazing. So yeah, it's great.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, ads are not always the best solution, but in this case, a great way to get in front of thousands of relevant people in a short space of time.
Yeah,
with a relatively small spend.
Yeah.
If you were going to get that kind of interest organically, it's going to take you ages. You know how slow it is to build an organic following, and this way you can get in front of loads of the relevant people.
Yeah,
really quick.
And I'm not from Hereford. I've been here for 3 years, so the amount of people that I've spoken to, as it were, or reached in the last 2 weeks is more than I ever would, even if you had been here for years. So yeah, it's just made that starting point easier.
Yeah. And so I actually will use this as a chance to say to anyone listening, if you've been stung with ads before, here is quite a good case study as to how they can work. It's, like Georgia said, all about having a strategy, and it's about doing them like properly. I don't know how else to say it, but like doing it according to the best practice principles. And you're going to get that from learning from people who are expert in ads. Of course, you can give it a go yourself. You can boost some posts. You can see how it works. But the likelihood is eventually you're going to go, right, I want to get this done properly. And the way that we can work with anybody who is serious about running ads is either you can outsource to our agency, where you can basically hand everything over to us and we will run your ads for you. Or you can go for training, and we can train you up to learn about ads from beginning to end so that you can run them for yourself. Again, if you're interested, send me a message or send me an email and get in touch. Okay. What else should we chat about?
I don't know.
Should we end it there?
Yeah.
Let's end it there. Share the Instagram handle of the studio and how people can, like, if they are in Hereford, they can come to the studio, or if they are just interested in your marketing, then they can just spy on you on Instagram.
Have a little spy. We are at Studio 9 Wellbeing. studio9wellbeing.com is our website if you'd like to have a look. I did go to a little brunch this morning, a networking breakfast, and said, I'm opening a studio. But if you've seen our ads online, I'm a marketeer. I've done all that myself. We do marketing and everything. And people were like, oh, yeah, nice.
Oh, great.
It's nice to be able to have like a little case study to be like, this is what we do.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And I love that you're getting out as well into the real world, because that's an epic way to be generating leads. Like, should never forget about that.
Yeah, exactly.
If people enjoy this episode, this kind of basically us chatting episode, then you can join again in the future, and we can get an update on how the opening has gone.
Yes, please. I'd love to come back. Just chatting is great.
Yeah, we do this all the time, so we might as well record it.